Hello, my name is Michael O'Keefe, aka The Movie Wizard. If you enjoy this interview and want to hear more top-notch film industry conversations, please press the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell to stay in the know. Hello, Chris Robinson. Please tell my audience when the Ottawa International Animation Film Festival is this year, and how can they watch the content?
Well, it's simpler than usual, probably. The festival's online again for the second year in a row, unfortunately. It's running from September 22nd to October 3rd. And the starting point is to go to our website, animationfestival.ca, which will lead you to our Eventive page where you'll find all the screenings, and it'll be a mix of live screenings that will be up, like our competition screenings will be up for 24 hours. And then we'll have an assortment of on-demand talks and screenings as well.
Well, hopefully we get back to the Bytown Cinema next year, because it's always fun to watch animated shorts there.
Yeah. And and we're really happy that the Bytown will continue to exist, because that was another worry we didn't need during all this.
Oh my God, that was brutal when the news came out, but also course correction. So, of course, we're very lucky for a smaller place, Ottawa, to have two rep house theaters. It is pretty awesome. Yeah. So, what are your duties as artistic director?
So my job is to pretty much pick everything that you'll see on the screen. I do things from selecting the jury that will be at the festival to judge the competition films, the poster designer, the festival trailer creator, and then picking the half dozen or so retrospective and special screenings that we do. And then the chunk of it is to watch every submission. So this year we had a new record, unfortunately, because we seem to break records all the time and it becomes a bit overwhelming, but we had over 2,500 submissions this year. So, from March till about the end of June, I go through all those submissions.
Oh my God.
And, weed stuff out that obviously doesn't fit. I mean, we have categories too, so it's not quite as overwhelming as you'd think. I can watch all the music videos together, all the kids films together. So I'll go through that, I'll weed it down, and then in late June, I'll sit with a couple of my programming colleagues and we watch, what's left together, weed that down, and then I kind of shape the final programming from there for the competition. And then I have a colleague who puts together the out of competition programmings, which we call the Panorama screenings at the festival.
Fantastic. That sounds like a lot of work, though.
Yeah, this is actually, this year, I think the day before the festival will be my 30th anniversary working for the festival and the Canadian Film Institute. Developed a system over the years. And when you tell people, my job is to watch cartoons, I'm simplifying, but
right. Yeah, same with me. It's like, I watch movies and I talk about them. Yeah. So how animators and film industry people be able to network this year?
An assortment of ways. I mean, we've done one online festival last year, so and we were lucky because things hit in March 2020, and we had until September to kind of plan online and explore what we could do. So we have a lot of these interactive live events where people can meet with, like a network, we have something called the OIF Hangouts.
Nice.
Which is 1 hour before every competition screen. It's like mingling in the lobby. I mean, that's more of an informal thing, but that gets people talking, and there are a lot of loyal festival people from outside of Ottawa that come. So it's been a nice chance to give this online experience a bit of intimacy and humanity. And then we have assorted, we have a whole, I sort of look after the artsy, the independent side of things. But we have a whole industry side as well. And, there's a lot of similar networking events that go on there, where we've got these sort of interactive apps where people can come in and meet with different studios and schools and whatnot.
That sounds awesome. And OIF parties in person were always a blast.
Yeah. That's we did last year. We did our increasingly infamous night owl party, which we started, I can't remember, maybe 2016, which is a big Saturday night party where we kind of shut everything down. And it was normally at the Arts Court Ottawa Art Gallery, where we sort of took over all levels of the building. And then, last year my colleague said, "Oh, we're gonna do Night Owl again," and I was like, "How are we gonna do that?" But,
Right.
but it was pretty interesting. It's not, it's not quite the same with a party, but
Sure.
But it was more successful than I thought. So we'll be doing that again. But that's the one thing, we can't read. Our picnic is another sort of famous Ottawa thing that we can't really replicate online. But there's there's enough social stuff going on for people.
Well, hopefully in-person stuff happens next year. Is that being talked about?
Yeah, we're fully prepared for an online. I had really, up until around May, I really thought we could pull off a live festival this year, but it's just too chaotic right now. Nobody seems to know what's going on, so it was much safer.
Fair enough. So what are some of the festival talks you're personally excited for, or maybe want to hype up?
There's a lot. I know Aardman, and there's people interested in the industry side. We've got Pixar, we've got Aardman Animation, Netflix. All the big studios will be doing presentations and talks about their latest projects and whatnot. On the independent side, we're going to be talking with the Rhode Island School of Design, who are also our central focus this year. We're doing a 3-part program looking at their student work going back to the 1970s. And people who go to the festival probably, like, you can't come into the festival and not bump into somebody who graduated from RISD. And RISD, for people who don't know, produced, among many others, a guy named Seth MacFarlane, who went on to create Family Guy, and attended the festival in the 90s as well. We're doing a big screening of all their work from over the years, including one of the films that was kind of the origins of Family Guy, eventual origins of Family Guy. So we're showing all that stuff, and then we're doing a panel talk with teachers and students to talk about what made that school so unique. So there's a mix of stuff, some on the more eclectic side of animation that the public might not be so familiar with, and then more industry related in the sense that it's studios, but everybody's welcome.
Who are some other really famous people who've come to the festival, like Seth MacFarlane?
Seth MacFarlane, Seth Green was here not all that long ago, as part of Robot Chicken. I remember I'm not sure he's really a big name, but I always screw up the pronunciation of his last name. Dino Stompalopoulos, who played Starburns on Community. He was a writer on Mr. Show.
Oh, wow.
But he was doing some stop motion for a while. Norman McLaren, Chuck Jones, Richard Williams. Lots of people over the years that have come to the festival. Nice.
That's awesome. So how long has the festival been going on for? And do you know how it started?
The festival started in 1976, a little bit before my time. Its origins were, there was a festival. The first animation festival started around 1960 in Annecy, France. And the whole idea was to provide a space for animators who were making their own sort of personal, artistic, independent films. And there was Annecy, then there was Zagreb in Croatia that started in 1972. And I think the other festival was in Romania or Bulgaria. I'm forgetting right now. But they had a flood and had to cancel their event entirely. And then Animation of International Animation People, ASIFA, wanted they decided, okay, here's the time to get something in North America. Canada's ideal because of the National Film Board. And then they hooked up with the Canadian Film Institute in Ottawa, because I think there's been a tendency to avoid the major cities for animation. Like Annecy is the big festival, but Annecy, France is not exactly, it's not Paris.
Right.
It's a smaller place. And I think Ottawa also has a history. The National Film Board of Canada was in Ottawa up until the 1950s. And it's the capital and, situated nicely near the border and between Montreal and Toronto. So, those were some of the reasons behind it. And they started in 76 and had some bumps along the way. It even left and went to Hamilton and Toronto in the 80s for 2 failed sessions, from what I've heard.
What a relief.
Yeah, I can't imagine it in Hamilton, but it came back here in 88 and, stayed here. And it's, it's really, it's grown and changed just like the animation industry. I would venture to guess. I mean, even around the time I started in 91, it was still pretty much a grassroots thing. It was really like a conference for animators, not necessarily the public. And, that really changed in the 90s when I was there, and the industry animation just exploded after The Simpsons and stuff. The success of The Simpsons, it just was everywhere. So the festival grew and the audience grew, and, and you had more animation schools growing. So it's really changed and a lot from 76.
Sounds like it. Wow. Interesting stuff. What's your favorite animated film of all time?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. There's probably a couple that nobody would even, it wouldn't resonate with any audiences. So there's a lot, but it's certainly not stuff people would know.
I'm gonna say Fantastic Planet. I love that movie.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid film.
It's not a bad pick.
No, that's a good pick. Most people would go for, maybe a Disney Pixar.
Right. Which is cool too.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what's unique too about Ottawa. A lot of the other festivals, and I'm not criticizing them at all, but they'll have like their independent short competition. They'll have the student competition. They'll have the commercial, the TV, commissioned competition, all separated. And in Ottawa, we've always had everything together. So you will see some hardcore abstract film, maybe from Austria, next to a Coke commercial or a Jay-Z video, like, and then the student, we mix it all together because I really like to bring, it can be very divided between the industry side and the independent side. And I like to bring them all together to torture them and make them endure each other's world,
That's fun. All right. Well, how will the Panorama section expand minds this year?
I mean, Panorama, it's really linked to the competition, and I think for people who've never been to the festival before, I often get asked, where would we start? Where should we start? I always say the short competition, and there are 6 of them this year, about an hour each that showcase everything I just said: student films, experimental, narrative, wide range of stuff from all over the world. So you'll see about 10, 11, 12 films in each of those programs, and they'll all be quite different. So it's a bit like a buffet. You're not going to like everything, but hopefully you'll find a few things that really resonate with you. And it's really the cutting edge of what's going on around the world in animation. And then the Panorama, it's sort of a best of the rest, the stuff that didn't quite make the competition. So we have Canadian Panorama, which is the best Canadian stuff, Canadian Student Competition / Panorama, and then a World Student Panorama and a World Panorama. And really, the line between those films and the competition is pretty slim. There are people that attend Panorama and think it's better than some of the competition programs. I mean, they're wrong from my perspective, but
right.
But competition is quite silly anyway, really, at the end of the day, but that's a whole other topic.
Right. we're getting philosophical now.
Yeah,
I remember being at a party, an OIF party, and they were playing submissions that didn't make the cut on it,
right.
TV. And that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, that's the Salon de Refuse or de
Right.
Refuse that we started. I
Right.
can't remember when we started that,
Mhm.
and I believe it's still going on during the online. And that's just an opportunity for people who didn't make the cut to be part of the festival as well and share their work. Because
Yep.
it's, we always tell people, you just don't take it too personally.
Mhm.
Ottawa is really tough to get into, especially with the entry numbers being so high. It's over 2,500 this year, and probably about 100 films in competition, maybe another 50 in the Panorama. So it's really tough to get in, and we've always consciously kept it small. We don't want to expand and become like a Toronto festival or
Yeah.
just trying to do too much. It doesn't appeal to us.
That makes sense. So tell me about the jury for the official competition.
The jury, if I can remember them, I know this year we brought back. Don't always do this, but we brought back two grand prize winners from last year's festival. So Kang Min Kim, who is a Korean animator in LA, his film Kum won the short film grand prize last year. He's going to be on the jury, and we're also doing an indie talk with him. His work is fantastic. Just
Nice.
His film last year he made using styrofoam, and what he does with it is just insanely brilliant. And then we have the winner of the feature film last year, which was Kill It and Leave This Town from Poland, Mariusz Wilczynski. He will be on the jury for features. There's 3 people on each. It's a bit, you miss it a bit. Normally they sit with the audience and watch everything. So it's a bit different this year and last year, where it's a little bit more relaxed in some ways. They can kind of watch the films on their own time, repeat viewings and stuff like that. So, we've got 3 on each. And then, what's always interesting too is our young audience competition. And we invite kids to be the jury members for that. And the nice thing about being online, because normally it's just Ottawa area kids who can apply, but we've opened it up to all of North America.
Nice.
For the last 2 years to get more people involved and part of the process. So that's always fun to watch them, and they get to present the winners on the stage or on the virtual stage with the professional jury members, and that's always fun to watch.
Well, how old are these kids?
It's usually from, I'm gonna rough it out and say 8 to 12.
Okay.
Thereabouts. Yeah.
So nobody's in their terrible twos.
No, but that could be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Or you get like just like 6-week-old kids and just see their reactions, and that's the jury right there.
We've had some adult jury members who've had toddler moments over the past, so pretty rare, but it happens.
It's amazing the things people say. So, okay, tell me about integral special screenings this year.
For the special screenings, again, the Rhode Island School of Design one, I think is really interesting. There are 3 screenings, like piles of films from that school from the 70s up until the recent years. And RISD I've just always loved, because there are many schools that are training grounds. And again, I'm not judging them or anything. That's what they do. They provide a workforce for studios. But RISD is a bit different in that they're really encouraging your artistic expression and to bring out an idea that's already in you. And the result has been really great over the many, we've shown many of their films in competition. It's always very interesting techniques and storylines, just totally different sort of approach to animation. And and it's quite a diverse program. Other than that, we have I think there's 3 or 4 others. We've got a focus on Mike Marianuk, who's an animator from Winnipeg. Does live action, does animation. We are bringing in a collage animator named Jody Mack, who's from the U.S. and quite well known on the arts scene. Maybe not as known in the animation world as much. But we're bringing her body of work, and she's doing a presentation about her film. So she's fascinating. She will take any object she stumbles into and turn it into an animation film. You know, she can go to Dollarama and get a bunch of gift bags and make a really incredible non-narrative film with it. And really upbeat, positive person. So her screening and her talk should be interesting to people. We've got Wang Ping, who was on our jury last year. We were supposed to have him on the jury and do a program in person, but that didn't work out. He's a Hong Kong animator, again, who's kind of more known in the contemporary art world, but he's kind of a self-taught animator who makes films that are very, I don't know how you describe it. They look visually like candy. They're just really inviting and bubbly and friendly looking, but he's dealing with kind of serious issues or adult issues about sexuality, generational conflict, politics, and oppression that are going on in Hong Kong. So, you know, those are some of the special screenings that we've got planned. You know, and the special screenings, you know, the competition in Panorama and a lot of the talks are focused on the present and future of animation. The special screenings are really about kind of bringing the past forward and keeping it alive, because so often a lot of these films will come and appear at a festival. Once their festival run is over, they kind of disappear. You know, there's not really a great outlet still to find independent animation. I mean, Vimeo and YouTube obviously are there, but if you don't know what you're looking for, it's hard to find a lot of this stuff. So, you know, I think it's important as a festival to keep our foot in the past and keep bringing that forward as well. So even you know, we get a number of animation students as well who come to the festival. And I think it's important for them to know of the past as well.
Okay. So on a different note, is there a piece of merch you'd recommend above all the others?
Ooh, like festival merchandise?
Yeah, for OIF, yeah.
Well, people generally like the T-shirts that we have each year, which are usually based on the poster design, and we have a pretty amazing poster design. People can see it on the webpage. Each year, you know, I'll seek out an animation artist, you know, whose work I really like and is a bit edgy, I guess, and invite them to do a poster for us. So it's people like the shirt. I see shirts everywhere. I live in Montreal part of the time, and there have been moments where I've run into people on the street wearing Ottawa shirts, which is great. You know, it's great for the festival, but it's great for the city. Like I don't people even though sometimes the local public can be a bit disengaged from the festival a bit. I don't think people realize how well known Ottawa is internationally in the animation community. Like if you go to Asia and other places, they just know Ottawa,
right?
Or Ottawa.
Just a place where animation takes place. Yeah. That's cool. I like that. All right. Well, Chris, thank you very much for your time. It was a fun conversation for sure. Can you give a final pitch for my audience to partake in OIF this year?
You know, it's a great, you know, I think it's a great chance to see stuff that you can't really see on any of the streaming. You're not going to see stuff on Netflix or Prime or whatever streaming place you're looking at, even Disney. This is a completely different world in some ways, not entirely, that shows this sort of more personal and poetic and adventurous side in some ways of animation, with all sorts of different techniques that you don't, you know, see, which I find fascinating. That, you know, this is a world where somebody can make a film using coffee grounds, you know, candy, I mean, anything. So it's a bit more adventurous. And what's fascinating is quite often some of these people will end up on Netflix or Disney or or whatnot, because the studios come here looking for that future story idea or design style. You know, we've had a number of animators over the years who've been in competition and who've gone on to work at studios and whatnot. So, you know, it's a chance to see what's going on all over the world, and you know, quite convenient. You know, you don't have to leave your home this year to
Right.
to see the world.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
All right, thanks.